Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Teresa. I love all things makeup, beauty and skincare. So on the weekends I like to hang out with you guys and talk about the newest makeup releases that we have collectively found rather interesting. To do that, you guys diligently tag me in content that you want me to discuss. So a massive thank you to everyone who has tagged me in content this week. Your names are being displayed right now. You're rather fabulous. And also a huge thank you to my YouTube community members. You're great. I need to sort out a live again soon. There's been a lot going on, but I will get to it, I promise. I also have a few things that I want to do as part of a giveaway. Honestly, I just have stuff to give away at this point. It's a bit ridiculous. But we have quite a few things to talk about this week. Before we get into it, let's remind ourselves to hydrate. That is exceptionally important. You know, you need that for your skin and also just to stay alive. So grab whatever it is that you need. Maybe it's tea, maybe it's coffee, maybe it's juice, maybe it's some sort of an adult libation. I don't know, I'm not going to judge, but grab it and then we'll get into it. The first thing that I wanted to talk about, well, it's not even really that I wanted to talk about it. I got an email the other day. You guys know what it is that I'm going to talk about. The fabulous It's Belle Cosmetics have decided to close. I am, I don't want to say heartbroken because that sounds so dramatic, but it is a brand that I really, really love and have enjoyed for many, many years. And just seeing them say that although the site says it's temporary closing, that it may be permanent, I'm like, oh God, because they're such a good brand. They always kept things affordable. They're a Puerto Rican brand, really amazing color stories, great pigment, fantastic customer service, like absolutely fantastic. You guys know I was an affiliate with the brand. That's how much I believed in them. But due to lots of different circumstances, I talked about it in a quick video during the week. I'll link that down below if you want to see. But yeah, unfortunately they're closing, which like totally sucks. To this day, I have most of the stuff that they've released. Anything that I haven't got is only just because it wouldn't have suited my skin tone. But I'm super, super bummed about it. But let's actually talk about some new releases. This is the brand Anthemy, which I had never actually heard of, but I have had a few people say that they've tried it and they like sort of pigments and the quality. This is the Anthemy Living Creatures Compendium collection. So there's 4 palettes as part of this. There's the Serpent's Emerald Gaze, the Abyssal Codex Chameleon Eyeshadow Palette, the Nocturnal Moth Reverie, and the Rabbit Charm. So they're retailing between €41.95 for the 12 pan all matte, €44.95 for the Abyssal Codex and the Nocturnal Moth Reverie, and €51.95 for the Serpent's Emerald Gaze, mostly because that's primarily more kind of like multi-chrome shades. If you want to get the whole collection, it's available right now for €173.95 over on C Beauty Mall. I had never heard of this brand and I gotta say, oh, it looks so pretty. Like even the packaging is gorgeous. I quite like the color stories. Are all of these color stories super interesting to me? No, not really. And actually I'm going to essentially introduce these in order of interest, starting with the Emerald Gaze one. Oh sweet merciful Jesus. Right, yes, there's some mattes in here. It's a good mix, about half and half, like half mattes and then half kind of more metallic-y interesting shades. They look really beautiful. I always love mixing pinks with greens and purples, and then there's that like tealy blue in there as well. There's even like a multi-chrome shift of like an orange to a gold to a green. Absolutely stunning. I will say the reason why I'm not going to get this is not because I don't think it's a beautiful color story, but because quite a few people correctly pointed out they could look at their own collections and kind of dupe this, and I know I can do that as well. I have a frightening amount of eyeshadow, like it's ridiculous. So I definitely don't need that, particularly when I haven't tried the brand and I'm not familiar with them. It just wouldn't really make a huge amount of sense. Maybe if you didn't have a lot of these sort of things in your collection, this might be a good one, but I think the color story is fabulous and the packaging absolutely beautiful. The next one then is the Abyssal Codex. Oh my God, those fabulous blues. I love that there's a good level of depth, and even the light kind of pastel-y shades in there are gorgeous. That little pop of green. You guys know me. If there's green in it, I'm just gonna lose my mind. Like it won't even make sense to me, but I'll be like, yes, I want this. Those shimmery shades look really interesting. I'd love to see them kind of sheared out and see how much kind of glitter is in that, because it does look like something I could maybe put as like a wash of color to make it be a little bit more subtle, a little bit more sultry, which I quite like from time to time. Don't get me wrong, I'm like a bold, glamorous piece of makeup. I like the colourful, but sometimes I like to be a little bit more subdued and sultry and just quite interesting looking. I like this one, and I feel like the price point of €44.95 isn't too bad, all things considered. Now, as I said, this is a pre-order, so keep that in mind. You know, you are going to be waiting a little bit for that. Again, if I look at this, I could probably dupe this from my existing collection, but I think it's quite interesting. The next one then is the Moth Reverie. I actually quite like this. It's one of the ones that initially when I was looking at it, I was kind of like, I'm not really sure. And then the more I looked at it, the more it kind of grew on me. I quite like that kind of grey taupey shade. It's really unusual. There's almost like a green leaning into it. That purple, that pale purple, absolutely beautiful. And then some of those sparkly shades down at the bottom, beautiful. I love that little pop of gold in there as well. Again though, I could probably look at my collection, and I'm already thinking of a couple of shades that I have, like the It Spell Cosmetics. Oh, hard to say it, but they came out with a rather recent palette and it was blue and gold themed, and I could actually take some of the shades from that and create a similar-ish look. So I feel like I could dupe that, but this is absolutely stunning. And I feel like when you put all of them together for €173, oh my goodness, it is very expensive, but what a fabulous gift that would be. I think it's gorgeous, and I gotta say, I think the packaging is stunning. The one that kind of I was the least interested in initially, and it's not that I'm like very interested in it now, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I can kind of see the functionality behind this. This is the, I think it's Rabbit Charm palette. It's 12 pans, but it's all matte, and I kind of thought, oh god, this is very neutral. And don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with a neutral eyeshadow palette. Sometimes they're absolutely fantastic, but I kind of thought to myself, how much use would I get out of this? But then they pointed out that this is multifunctional. You can obviously use this for contouring, for bronzing, etc. And it does look like there's kind of grey enough shades in there that I could potentially contour myself with, and kind of those shades would be quite good for blush as well. And there's a white and a black in there, which I personally quite appreciate. Again, I probably wouldn't get a lot of use out of this simply because I have a crazy makeup collection. But if, God forbid, in the morning my makeup collection was gone, would I think about purchasing these to start afresh? Possibly, just because I want to try something new. And I mean, why not? I will say the rabbit looks a little bit malevolent. It does look like it wants to steal my soul, and I don't know how I feel about that. All in all, as a collection, I think they're very, very beautiful. I feel like maybe they don't necessarily cohere with each other. It's hard to kind of tell how one palette informs the other. I feel personally like a really good collection, you can kind of see ties between each of them, but they feel like they're very, very different palettes to each other. And the only thing that kind of links them together is the fact that they're living creatures. But that's kind of it. It's nice, but I'm not going to be getting it simply because I don't need it. Then we have Arttitude Cosmetics. You guys know that I love them. I'm an affiliate with the brand, blah, blah, blah. It's a whole thing. Rooks is a big fan of lip oils. Personally, I'm not like that into lip oils. I mean, they're fine, but I don't kind of go, oh my God, I must go and buy a bunch of lip oils. I have my own kind of peptide treatments that I quite like, but she loves them and she's keeping the brand true to her own aesthetic. So she's coming out with a bunch of new lip oils. She first showed 6, I guess, fragrances, because they're apparently they smell but they also taste, I think, and they're fruity. There's like pomegranate, passion fruit, cherry, watermelon, coconut, grape. But today when I was looking up, there's 3 extra flavors that she's added. There's candy floss, there's bubblegum, and there's vanilla, and all of these are coming out September the 28th at 11 AM British Standard Time. So if you've had their previous lip oils, just beware that she's changed the packaging, so you actually get an extra ml of product. I think it's quite good. I mean, I'm not going to kind of get super excited about this. I don't think I'll be getting this in PR, which is totally fine. Rooks is quite clever. She knows the stuff that like I tend to gravitate to, which is essentially eyeshadow palettes. So she has the wherewithal to make sure that I get eyeshadow palettes rather than stuff that I'm not going to use, which, fantastic. Let's not have like a crazy level of overconsumption. Yeah, I think this is very nice. She usually keeps the cost to the consumer down quite a bit, which honestly fair play when you're a small brand to do that. I mean, the amount of like bigger brands that cost an arm and a leg and you're like, where are all these coming from? I think if I was to be interested in any, it would be watermelon. Yes, I know that's a little bit cliched. It would be either watermelon or cherry, because I really like cherry as well, but I feel like watermelon is a bit more like refreshing, and maybe I'm trying to grasp onto the last remnants of summer, but I think it's quite nice and they do look really pretty. I'd love to see how much of a tint they would give to the lips. Obviously these are just kind of like sneak peeks at the moment, But I mean, she'll do it really well, so kudos to her. It's quite interesting. Then, oh my goodness, right, this is Makeup Forever. This is the HD Skin Blush and Glow Longwear Cream Face Palette. This is apparently limited edition, which I'm like, gosh darn you, because I quite like this. And I was looking over at Makeup Forever today, their US website, and this had been $88, but they've brought it down to $66, and I'm like, you wily little minx, you're trying to get me to buy it. And Calvin, the fabulous Calvin Brockington, was like, oh, I feel like you'd get really good use out of this. And I'm like, don't you tempt me with a good time, sir. How very dare you. But the more I look at this, the more I'm like, I quite like this. I really enjoy cream products. They just work so well with my skin. I've said this a million times over. You know exactly what I'm going to say. I have dry skin. I'm aging. Well, guess what? You are too. So it's not just me. We're all aging. Enjoy it and your youth while you can, because it's going. We're all going to need cream products is what I'm trying to say. I think actually when you break it all down, the fact that it's, by the way, $66 over on their site right now. Oh, $66 for 12 shades. So that's like $5.50 per cream product. Excuse me, that is mathematicking out quite nicely. They do claim that they're going to give you up to 12 hours of wear, which is quite a bit to say for a cream product. I love these shades. And this is one of those ones that I do legitimately feel like I would get a lot of wear out of most of these shades. I think maybe the purple I'd struggle with the most. However, the thing with cream is you can sheer them out. So I am, by the way, talking myself into this. So here's the thing. Cult Beauty have started to stock Makeup Forever. Makeup Forever is also on Look Fantastic. I'm giving myself several outs. I think it's also on Sephora UK. If this palette comes to any of the aforementioned retailers, let me know. As if I'm not going to be checking, because I think I would end up getting it. I think it's really, really interesting. Even with the blushes, there's two kind of different types of formulas. There's a semi-matte and there's kind of a shimmering one. I quite like more shimmery blushes just because it's like, oh, look over here, not over here. And because I have such dry skin, adding in that little bit of radiance and dewiness is something that I'm personally quite interested in. I like this, and I love that they had shown it on a couple of different skin tones. I feel like this is quite good for a lot of different people. And of course, if you have their existing HD skin stuff, which by the way I don't have, but I kind of want, I don't need, but I kind of want, you could obviously build your own palette and like mix and swap and just be very, very cool. Personally, I think this is actually pretty darn good, and the price point is great. I suspect that anyone who's in an MUA is just going to sit there and be like, I've gotcha. It's already in my bag. I'm already thinking about this. This is on my wish list. They also have obviously other like skin palettes as well, and this is limited edition. I'm kind of hoping that they might think about keeping this around, because I think this is absolutely gorgeous. I do want it. The more I've kind of seen it, the more I'm like, and I'm quite annoyed with myself about that. So yeah, a good makeup launch will make me angry at myself, essentially. Then we have Juvia's Place, and I feel like the timing of this is so good, because Givenchy got into a lot of trouble for reformulating their finishing powder because they took out the talc, which is a great idea because obviously there's some links between that and carcinogenics, etc. But the problem is that talc is really great at mattifying, smoothing, etc. And when you're trying to find an alternative to that, the cheaper substances tend to make you all shimmery, and that's why Givenchy were getting into trouble, because it looked like potentially they were going for kind of cheaper non-talc alternatives, which is not what we want. If you wanted to do a highlighter, then fair enough, but not for something that you want to be a blurring powder. But this one is talc free. It's also paraben free, it's cruelty free, vegan, etc. And there's 8 shades. What frustrates me is that I've gone onto their website and they don't tell you how much product is in that, which kind of bugs me. And they also don't have any information about the exact ingredients in this, which is another thing that slightly irks me on numerous levels. One, because it's like, I'm pretty sure you have to tell us what ingredients are in things, because if people have allergies, they need to know. And also, it's just good for us to know if there's certain ingredients and things that are going to vibe well with our skin, right? Some people just just know by looking at ingredients whether or not a setting powder is going to work for them. Others will kind of take a chance. So for me, I don't understand why they've done that. It doesn't make a huge amount of sense. And I think if they led with that of like what their ingredients were, they do an awful lot better in that sense of coming forward with that transparency. So I'm really not sure why they're doing that, because the pictures of them using it makes it look extremely matte. It looks really beautiful. They say that it's finely milled, blah blah blah. But even though it looks very matte on the models, and I love the shade range, I think that those 8 shades, mwah, fantastic, kudos, really really well done, I can't really verify for sure if these are properly matte. Are they actually going to be blurring? Just because they say they're blurring doesn't mean they actually are. And I feel like being upfront about your ingredients list is kind of like the minimum that you can do these days. So I really don't understand why they didn't have that. Like obviously all the models also look stunning, they absolutely do. My other quibble with that is they've got this absolutely gorgeous young model who already have quite beautiful skin in the before picture. I want to see this on a diversity of people. When we're looking at different ages, I want to see different genders, I want to see different skin types, different skin tones. I want to see exactly how this is going to look on oily aging skin, how this is going to look on dry acne prone skin. Like, show me that, because that's going to help me make a much better decision than you showing it on these absolutely stunning models. That being said, I do like Juvia's Place. Anything that I've tried from them in the past, I've generally quite enjoyed. They're quite a good brand, but I just feel like their website in general doesn't sell their products very well. Like they don't show swatches and stuff of eyeshadows as well as they could. So I feel like they're slightly missing a trick there. I'm for sure intrigued, but they're not easy to get here anymore. I think this is one of those ones that if Juvia's Place comes out with another couple of products that I'm potentially interested in, I would probably pop that in and do an order that would include one of these powders and maybe something else. But am I going to do a solitary order for one thing? I mean, not really. That seems a little bit wasteful to me, but I like the idea of this. I'm looking forward to seeing some reviews on this and seeing what people think of it and whether it really is blurring and is it really finely milled. The pictures make it look like it's finely milled, but I have trust issues and I just don't believe what brands are telling me anymore. Next we have Dior Beauty. Now normally I wouldn't cover Dior because if I'm 100% honest, a lot of their products don't tend to be very interesting to me. Their eyeshadows are just like, they're a wash of colour. They're perfect for a particular population who like that. I just don't happen to fit into that particular population. I like very pigmented, blendable eyeshadows, and these are just not quite it. However, I am an absolute sucker for their face products. Their foundation is one of my favorites, but they discontinued it. Let us not discuss that. And their highlighters are amazing. I have some of their quads already, and this one is calling to me. There's obviously that 9-pan eyeshadow palette. It's fine. I don't really want to talk about that massively, but I'm going to show it to you guys. I can get it for cheaper. I don't really care. The lip maximizer, also don't care, in the nicest way possible. Let us just breeze past that. I just think that is wildly over expensive for what it actually is. But the highlighter palette, oh my goodness, I am absolutely loving the look of this. By the way, Amit Beauty Talk over on Instagram had all these pictures. I stole them from her because I'm disgusting. There you go. I am intrigued. The only thing that is making me question this is the fact that it is limited edition. And my experience with any limited edition products is that usually they don't kind of go through that product development and testing in the same way, because it financially doesn't make a huge amount of sense, because they have a limited run of these things and it decreases the profit margins. The more that you're testing and developing these things, the less of an increase or a profit that you can get from that. But you're still trying to sell these at the same sort of price as the existing products that are similar. Like they're going to sell these at around about the same price as their existing quad highlighters, as their existing 9-pan eyeshadow palettes. So you can see what I mean, that sometimes I get a little bit like, I wonder about this. And this isn't just a Dior thing, this just tends to be a lot of brands in general. So the only thing that's stopping me is that. However, I know that if I go into Boots in Dublin. There's several boots and there's also a Brown Thomas because I'm a bougie bee. If I went there and had a little swatch, I could have a see as to what that is like. And if I like that, there is nothing that would stop me. I would probably get that. I would. I just think that's really pretty. And I just find that they don't tend to leave a cast, at least on me. I can't speak for other people because obviously I am just one person. But yeah, that is that's getting to me in the best way. I think it's really, really interesting. The other two things, nah, they could have just come out with a highlighter quad and I'd have been totally fine with that, and I'd have been like, here, and take my money, you silly little goose. And another brand that quite frankly is just, I feel like they're robbing from me at this point, because every launch that they're coming out with recently, I'm like, I want that, I want all of that. Goddamn Glisten Cosmetics, I'm livid with them, right? They have 10 new shades of their Chroma pencils. They're €10.95 each, and they have 6 new shades of their Chroma Flik liquid liner. They're €14.95 each. They of course have these bundles that if you want to get the Chroma pencil bundle of all 10 of them together, you can get them for €85.95, so that saves you about €24, which is actually pretty darn good. And you can get the Chroma Flik liquid liner bundle for €72.95, so again it's saving you quite a bit, about 18-ish euro. Oh, here's the thing with Glisten Cosmetics. My experience has been, even though they might look okay-ish in the picture or in the video, it's when you get them in your gross little raccoon paws that you go, I understand. I see what's happening here. And I literally only just got some products from them recently. I got their Chroma glosses and I ended up getting their single shadows because I'm ridiculous. And I was like, okay, I'm good to go now. I've got a few of their liquid liners, by the way. They're fabulous, and I feel like the pictures that I'm showing you right now don't do them justice. I'm going to talk about maybe the Chroma pencils first. There's 10 new shades, €10.95 each, as I said. There's shades that go from green, there's purple, there's electric blue, light gold, baby blue, purple. Look, there's a whole bunch of things. You use your eyes, you'll see what's there. I do feel like maybe those pictures don't 100% capture just how interesting they actually are. You can kind of see it at the top, you know, with Bora Bora and a little bit with Cobra, the slight distinctions there. Oh, I do love them though. I think they're very, very pretty. And actually, I just had my friend Kate, they were asking me about purple, like metallic-y liners. I should have actually pointed out these to her, so I must remember to do that once I finished filming. Oh, I really, really like these. You guys know I'm an affiliate with the brand, etc. I kind of don't bother affiliating with a brand unless I really enjoy them, but I'm trying to talk myself out of these because I have 2 eyes. I literally took out my liners there to show my friend Kate, to say these are the liners I think that you might actually enjoy. I do not need more liners. I don't, right? Let us remind myself of that. Teresa, you do not need more liners. You have 2 eyes. Unless you're in some terrible sort of an experiment where you grow more eyes, this is not going to make sense for you. But that shade Bora Bora, it's so beautiful. But come on, Teresa, you know you have it. Yes, the price point is very, very good, €10.95, and this is where I say, I have a code. It can get you 20% off. Nah. There you go. You can use that if you want. You guys also know that my lovely friend Daniela, who is also an affiliate with the brand, she has a code as well. It's Cosmic Peaches. It'll be down below in the description box. So you can choose between 2 codes. Look at you. Choice is a fabulous thing. Yeah, I really, really like these. My problem is if I picked up 1 or 2, I'd be like, well, in for the penny, in for the pound, I might as well get the whole fucking lot, because it does work out cheaper to get the bundle. But that's the most ridiculous logic that has ever logicked in the world. So somebody save me from myself, because that is absolutely ridiculous. The Flik liquid liners, I have I think maybe 2 or 3 shades of these. One was gifted to me again by my gorgeous friend Daniela. And by the way, I'm going to show you some videos of those liners in play. You'll have seen the videos of the Chroma pencils in play as well, because they really do show you how interesting they are. But Daniela did gift me one before for my birthday, and thus ensued a whole slight obsession with them. Again, I feel like the swatches here don't necessarily necessarily do it justice. You kind of have to see them on the eye. They're really like transformative. I'm not trying to convince you to get these. Obviously, if you're not interested, walk away, save yourself your cash. If you have things that you could dupe, totally grand. Are these super, super interesting shades to me? Not massively. I'm trying to talk myself out of these. Remember this, guys. I feel like I could probably not dupe things, but I could live without them. Like, I don't need these, but I think the more I'm looking at them, the more I can actually envision things that I could do with them, and it's making me a bit uncomfortable. I'm making eye contact with Soleil and also with Galactic and Phoenix, so I need to stop doing that. Avert thine gaze. I think I might turn into stone. But these are really beautiful. I've seen, I know my friend Daniela, her favorite shade is Beetle, and like she wears it all the time, and it's enough to like completely transform a look. These are one of those ones that just look better in reality. Yeah, no, I can't be getting that. That is ridiculous. Leave it alone. I think it's beautiful though. Genuinely do think it's very, very pretty. And I think these are kind of really good for people who might be wanting to try something that's a little bit more like duochrome, a little bit more chromatic, but are a bit intimidated, because these are more like user-friendly colors. The existing ones are a little bit more for the colorfully inclined, shall we say. This is going to be really great for, I think, MUAs, etc. And for people who like to add a little bit of an edge to a subtle everyday look, to just kind of do that little double take and be like, ooh, you're interesting, which is what we all really want. So do I think at some point I will get these? No comment. No comment, because I've said before that I'm like, I'm not going to get something, and then I'm an idiot and absolutely fall for it. So there you go. Next we have Oden's Eye, and I did speak about this last week, but very, very briefly, because it was essentially leaked by Tati Westbrook. And this is the Eternal Twilight palette, and it's going to be available from September 20th. So as you're watching, it's already been made available. There's quite a few things that are part of this Luminous and Shadow collection. There's the Eternal Twilight palette, which is actually huge. I think it's the biggest palette they've done. It's a 24 pan eyeshadow palette for $56.90. They then also have some kind of luminous and shadow blushes. They're $20.90 each. There's one that's kind of like a glow powder, and then the other two are more matte, and then there's 3 luminous highlighters, and they're $22.90 each. I'm going to start first by talking about the eyeshadow palette. I don't know what it is about Oden's Eye. I know a lot of people love them. I think I'm somewhere in the middle, where there's stuff that I've got from them that I really, really enjoy, and I can understand why people like them, but I haven't seen a palette of theirs that I've legitimately been extremely interested in since the Hella palette. And whatever your feelings are on Angelica Nyqvist, I know that some people aren't into her. I do feel like she really knows how to curate a colour story. She's good at that, and I really enjoyed that palette. I thought the quality was really, really good. But as I'm looking at this, I like one side more than the other. The right hand side, the bluey toned side. The warm toned side, I just wouldn't get a lot of use out of. I genuinely wouldn't. I'm kind of intrigued by that shade that is the second shade down in the second column. That's kind of interesting. I'm like, what even is that? It does look like when it's swatched out, it's just essentially a multi-chrome, but in the pan it looks quite interesting. I'm more interested in one side than the other. And when I'm looking at a palette, I need to be thinking about how versatile it is for me. Yes, I could convince myself, you can use the left-hand side for blushes. Yeah, I could, but I know myself, and I know I'm not going to. The swatches look fine. Do I think that this is necessarily worth spending $57 on? I don't think so. I know you can get all these codes to get money off, but just for me, it doesn't appeal. I'd very happily, and I mean very, very happily, get the more cool toned side. Very happily. I hope they do that. In fact, I hope they do that in the next couple of months. Maybe come out with the one side versus the other. But yeah, it isn't for me. Then in terms of the blushes, I mean, I think it's quite interesting that they have that kind of blushy, highlighty thing. I think it looks very, very pretty. I again wish, and I say this a million times, have a little guess as to what it is that I'm going to say, wish that they showed this on the face rather than swatches on the arm, because yes, they're showing that it's buildable, which is handy to know, but I want to know how it's going to disperse out. I've said it a million times before, blah, blah, blah. Those shades of blushes are really, really interesting. I think because I'm so pale, I'm looking at that and and I'm a smidgen intimidated. Like, I feel like I would look close to clownish, but I do feel like this would look beautiful on deeper skin tones, so I'm kind of here for that. And the fact that they've swatched that on deeper skin tones as well does kind of show how beautiful it would be. Again, I want to see it on the face. I think these could look just absolutely stunning, and I can see that mixture then with that more highlighty blush. I will say the components as well look absolutely stunning, like so aesthetically pleasing. Like, I feel these are the kind of component-y bits that I'm a little bit more interested in. I think I might be more interested in like their face products than their eyeshadows these days, which is a really interesting sort of a leap for me to have taken. I also like the look of those luminous highlighters, and they each kind of have different kind of switches and shades. So there's the L101, which is Dim Glow. It's a golden highlighter with pale blue iridescence. Excuse me, I like the sound of that. There's also L102, Subtle Radiance, a silver highlighter infused with soft pale blue sparkles. Ho ho ho, say no more. I like the sound of that. Also, why did I do a weird ho 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 sound? Oh, that was terrifying. And then L103, Gentle Firefly, a shimmering pink and gold highlighter with a shifting glow. The sound of each of those is really, really interesting to me, and I tried to take some stills from videos because as I was trying to put this together, there weren't any pictures on the website. I'm sure I've probably curated some sense, who knows? I'm very busy these days, I mightn't have. It's so hard for them to capture a picture of it because there's so much reflex to it, but it does look really, really nice. Again, there's something about this that actually reminds me a little bit of kind of the sparkly dusts that came out from Anastasia Beverly Hills a couple of months ago that were a part of their Aurora collection. And there's part of me that's like, oh, I know this is meant to be a highlighter, but wouldn't that be so pretty just on the eye? And I need to stop convincing myself to get things and be like, Ali, is it on the eye? Because I'm an idiot and I forget these things. But I do think this looks really, really pretty. I want to see it sheared out. Obviously, that's just my raison d'etre these days. I like the look of these. I know that one is meant to have more of like a golden undertone, but to me it looks more like greenish. But they didn't say that, but maybe that's just my eyes. I do like those. Again, it's their face products that seem to be a smidgen more interesting to me these days. All in all, would I get anything from this collection? I don't think so. I don't think so. I definitely don't need the eyeshadow palette because I don't love every single aspect of it. If it had been one half, yes, absolutely. The blushers I feel are probably not quite my tones. You see how ghostly pale I am. I am not dead. I'm alive. I have a pulse. It's a whole thing. The highlighters are probably the most interesting, but I can't be going off buying highlighters. I have enough highlighters. Like, that's a bit ridiculous. But they do look beautiful. Packaging, absolutely gorgeous. These would be fabulous gifts to receive or get or give or anything like that. I kind of feel like they're kind of perfect for that. Like, they look a little bit special, really, really nice. And it actually kind of feels quite natural to now move on to R.E.M Beauty. If you don't know R.E.M Beauty, it's owned by Ariana Grande, and it is legitimately owned by Ariana Grande because it used to be part of Forma. She bought it out when, you know, they went bankrupt, etc, etc. It's not really surprising that R.E.M Beauty have got a collaboration with Wicked because obviously Ariana Grande is in the new Wicked film, which is coming out, I believe, November 22nd, at least in the States. I don't know what the story is this side of the pond, but there you go. And part of why I feel like this is kind of fitting is that when I'm looking at the eyeshadow palette in particular, it feels like a love child, or maybe a hate child, who knows, between Oden's eye and Makeup Revolution. I said it. I said it. Now, I've never tried anything from R.E.M Beauty, so I can't speak as to the quality. So, you know, take everything that I'm saying with a pinch of salt. Comment down below. I know some people really love the concealers. They say fantastic things about them, in which case, fantastic. I do feel like the prices of these are a little bit off. So the eyeshadow palette is apparently $55. The Galinda Glow Drops are $34. The Elphaba makeup set is $60. There's the Tulip Field lip stains, $18 each. The Galinda makeup set for $60. There's a luxury beautification under eye mask. They're $26 for 5 packs. Ooh, and the so popular pH adaptive lip oil for $20. I'm not even going to talk about pH adaptive lip oils. Anyone who's watched me me for any period of time. You know how I feel about that. I think it's absolutely nonsensical and I don't want to talk about it. I want to move on with the rest of my life. The eyeshadow palette, it's fine. I mean, we're only seeing essentially a sneak peek. Maybe I'll talk about it again at another point. It's very uninspiring. I'd have thought that more work would have gone into this. I feel like the price does not match this at all. $55 seems a little bit bananas to me, and also very weird that essentially one size Patrick Starr's brand got to a Wicked collaboration before Ariana Grande. Maybe she wanted to make sure that her collab got out around about the time of the movie so that it would be a little bit more relevant, but I don't know, I kind of feel like one size did theirs better, and I wasn't exactly wowed by that at the time. Yeah, it's just a bit like, and like we haven't seen the rest of like the lip stains and what the shades are there. In terms of the glow drops, I don't know who those are going to work for, but I mean I do. They're gonna work for quite fair populations. I've said this a million times, please come out with inclusive collections. You know, people love these sort of franchises, so I don't understand why they do that. Personally, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by this, but also not underwhelmed. Like, I'm not surprised. I wasn't going in here with like mad expectations. When I heard that R.E.M Beauty were doing a collaboration with Wicked, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Will I remember this a year from now? Probably not. Would I be able to pick this out from a Makeup Revolution palette that you could get for £21? Probably not. I know that sounds awful. I personally can't see it being wildly interesting. Maybe the swatches will absolutely change my mind and they'll be amazing and they'll be really long wearing and a fabulous buttery matte formula, but nothing about that speaks to me. And the rest of the products, I mean, in the nicest way possible, I just don't care. Yeah, Ariana, it's not just you that's musical. I don't know what's wrong with me these days. I mean, several psychological diagnoses at this point, but yeah, no, I can happily miss that. Like, I feel quite safe this week in terms of my money. Then we have Urban Decay, and this is a really odd one in the sense that this was brought onto Beauty Bay today as I'm filming. It's the Space Cowboy Quad palette. It's €48 there, and you can't find it on Urban Decay. Or can you? Yes, you can, but it's in slightly different packaging, and it's available on Urban Decay's US website. It's called Moondust Space Cowboy Quad palette for $39. It's a lot cheaper, but I will say the packaging looks nicer on the Beauty Bay one, so it's a little bit strange. There's 4 shades. There's A-List Energy, which is a peachy pink shimmer and magenta glitter. Space Cowboy Rides Again, a light peach shimmer and silver glitter. Sparkle Hour, which is a pink shimmer and silver glitter. And Lunar Lit, a warm brown and silver glitter. Look, I think this is quite smart of them. Their Moondust palettes generally tend to do quite well. I enjoy their Moondust formula. Do I think that €48 is steep for this? Abso-friggin-lutely. I think that is quite a bit. They are trying to point out that these are versatile in that they work as highlighters, eyeshadows, or lipstick toppers. So I totally get that. I personally would like to see them come out with some more interesting shades. I think they're playing it quite safe at the moment. I was also really confused by this picture in the way that they were presenting this over on Beauty Bay, because over on the right hand side it looks like it's more red and pinkish, and I'm like, oh, there's hearts all over it. Is this like for Valentine's Day? But also it's September, so what's going on? My concept of time is all over the place. I don't know what sort of lighting they were taking that picture in. It's really strange, but you can see it's the same palette as what is available on the Urban Decay one, just slightly different packaging. But again, the Beauty Bay one, it looks deeper, but they're the exact same shades. Go check out the 2 websites. They're exactly the same. It's the same shades listed, and the swatches that I'm showing you guys, which by the way, how do I say this nicely? How do you take such poor swatches? And why do you take swatches of them like stars? Like, show them in a completely different way. They didn't even have like videos showing them. It was really bad. I cannot tell that there are sparkles in these swatches. I am underwhelmed. Oh my god, this is just the episode where I'm underwhelmed. Can you just be whelmed? Possibly. But when you see it on the eye, it actually looks really nice, and there's something about this that makes me think of like Disco Fever and Saturday Night Lights and all of these sorts of things. Like, I like that. I don't know why I said Saturday Night Light, but anyways, that's just the way that my brain is going. Like, it looks beautiful on the eye, but they are not good at selling their product in this way. They are really banking on people hearing the word Moondust and going, ah yes, take my money. here's the thing, right? I actually think this has a lot of potential for everyday use, right? I know I'm a colourful bee. I love a bit of colourful makeup. That's my jam. But sometimes I like just popping on a quick shadow and being sparkly. Now, my gorgeous friend Wilma is currently sitting, staring at her screen going, what the fuck is wrong with you? How dare you? This is for day walkers. It's all right, Wilma. Go check out the timestamps below and skip to the next one. This is going to enrage you. But I personally feel like there's a place for this. Do I feel like €48 is an appropriate price for this? Nah. I think that at a push, maybe €36 is a little bit more in line with this. I'd think about this if this went on sale, simply because I'm a disgusting collector. I know, isn't that terrible? Over consumerism and blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. It's just how I am. It's my personality. I know, terrible. But I do tend to use shades like this if I'm doing like weddings or if I'm like speaking at conferences, etc. because I want to look pretty, but not like too much in terms of colour. There's part of me that really wishes it was more pink toned, like they kind of showed in that picture that had the weird, I don't know, maybe colour filter or something on it. It looks lovely on the eye, but the price is just a bit weird. I don't get it. The very last thing that we're talking about is another weird product, and I'm honestly surprised that they decided to extend the shades on this. This is Milk Makeup, and it's their Jelly Tint Lip and Cheek Blush Stain. Right, they're going to be available from the 26th of September. They're going to be $24 each. You can already see them over on Sephora's website. It's where I took the pictures from, etc, etc. They have vegan collagen in them, which apparently visibly firms the skin. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Collagen, you have to ingest it to have any sort of an impact, so let's not lie. There's aloe, which would soothe and refresh the skin, which is fair, and there's apparently seawater in there to help hydrate. I do think that that will do that. That's fair enough. They also do that whole like ingredients call outs. It's free of phthalates, which is like, okay, fantastic, delighted for you. Here's the thing, I'm genuinely surprised that they came out with more of these. I know people were getting all excited going, oh my god, this is so different, it's a jelly thing, and people kind of going, oh, I must make sure that I don't eat it. Like, sorry, if you're getting that confused between your makeup products and food items, there's a bigger issue at hand, really. Although I was saying to a subscriber recently and a friend of mine that there was a Jessica Simpson brand where the makeup was all stuff that you could eat. The 2000s was a very, very strange time for us all. And part of why I think this is really weird is that there was a big surge in videos about this at the time when these came out, of everyone kind of going, oh my god, I must try these. This is so strange. Look at the texture, blah, blah, blah. And then nobody used them again after that. It was just a one and done sort of a video to, I mean, gain views, which, let's be real, nothing wrong with that. I get that from somebody who makes videos. But the fact that I didn't see people kind of reusing these over and over kind of makes me wonder about what the story is. And they did look a little bit patchy, etc. But they do have two new shades. There's Fresh, which is a soft pink, and Fizz, which is a soft peach. And to be fair, they look absolutely gorgeous on the models. Like, they're fine. I don't know, they just haven't kind of appealed to me. There's something that's a little bit childish about this, and it seems quite finicky to work with. And when I'm getting to the point of blush and I'm applying blush onto my face, I am going to be so angry if the blush application goes wrong and starts effing with the rest of my makeup. Because I don't know about you, but I'm putting blush on towards the very end. I've got my eyes done. I'm getting ready to finish up. So if at that point things get screwed up, I am going to be livid. So this seems like too much of a kind of a chance to me. I personally don't get it. Genuinely a bit surprised that they kind of extended it, but I guess more people will kind of do their videos on this. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe they'll change their minds and be like, oh no, this isn't any good at all anymore, in which case, what did you actually think when you first got this? Again, I have a whole bunch of trust issues at this point. As you can probably tell, I'm not going to be picking this up. It just doesn't appeal to me. I prefer other formulas. As I said before, a cream formula is like my preference. Like, if you put this and the Makeup Forever cream products, I'm sorry, but there's absolutely no competition. The Makeup Forever palettes, which when you think about it, you get those 12 shades for $88 if you're paying the full price, versus one of those weird shades for $24. I'm sorry, like it doesn't make sense. So obviously that one isn't for me. If it's for you, that's fantastic. Delighted for you. Let us all live our own little makeup dreams. But my gorgeous friends, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate it. I do have my favorite comment, and part of why I wanted to bring this up was because it was very timely. And Nissa said, did you notice that it's mid-September and we hear or see nothing from Pat McGrath's holiday releases? They are very late this year. Yeah, they are. And actually today, which is a Thursday, I sat down and filmed and they'd actually released the pictures of the palette. And can I just say, I know I would normally report on this, but also, was I hell going to talk about that? It's so boring. If you want to go and look it up, you can, but what you could also do is just look at every single palette that Pat McGrath has done in the last 3 or 4 years and just understand that it's the same thing. So I was like, yeah, I'm not talking about this. I just can't, because it's tough to edit these videos anyways without me just trying to really soldier through talking about a product that I have zero interest in. So actually I'd love to know what you guys thought. For those of you who have seen it, are you similarly like, Pat, what are you doing? You do know there are other colours. You can use other colours, please. Just because it's worked for you in the past, it doesn't mean that you do the same thing over and over. I don't understand it. Anyways, my gorgeous friends, that is it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate it. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. And do please share, because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case, just wrap it up. Don't be gross, but that's it. That's the end of the video and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.